At first glance, this looks like another survival game. I'm smacking crabs, picking up driftwood, dodging grabbles, which I kept calling gremlins. But then I realized my entire base was on a ship, and the game started punching back. The hook here is the ship. It's not a fast travel gimmick, you are building your entire base on it. I'm talking crafting tables, walls, and the whole bungalow setup right on the deck. It's basically a mobile home for murder hobos, and once you realize that the ship is your safety net, every decision out on the island suddenly matters more. And you're gonna need that base, because the combat, it actually pushes back. I ran into a boss named Pete, who has a fish head, a David Jones wannabe, and not only does he look fishy, but he also slaps hard. It feels much more like a Soulslike than a survival game, which is a big appeal to many, including myself. I spent the weekend with the Triarchy playtest building, crafting and surviving, and it's looking really promising. Let's talk about why. So let's talk violence. The combat feels surprisingly beefy. It's not just about spamming left click. Enemies have this stability bar under their health. If you deplete it, they get staggered and take extra damage. I eventually found this wooden ore, and let me tell you, this thing is a weapon of mass destruction. The heavy attack just flattens people and makes the perfect crab paste. It's extremely satisfying. On top of that, you can dodge, block and parry, and the game expects you to use all three. If you just dodge spam, you get punished. If you block everything, you burn stamina. You have to make decisions, not just react. There is actually some deep RPG math going on here too. You have stats like poise to stop you from getting staggered, cruelty, which buffs damage against stunned enemies, and a bunch more that you are seeing on the screen right now. And so, how do you get stronger? It's not just about finding a bigger ore. You level up. Some skills themselves are actually pretty cool. You have stuff like stasis, which fractures time and freezes enemies, or after image, where your attacks reverberate with a second strike. I went with the default warrior path because I'm basic, but the idea of me flinging spells is alluring, if only I had the time to try it. It's nice to see magic that feels punchy and not just a generic fireball. Here is my biggest issue with this build. The difficulty curve is uneven. During the day, enemies felt like punching bags. At night, completely different game. In the previous playtest, the enemies felt dangerous. Here, they felt like punch bags during the day. It felt a little too easy to just bully them with the ore, but I enjoyed my time with the ore. Then the sun goes down and the in-game fauna starts to fight back. At night, the mobs start to glow in the dark and they hit way harder. I went from feeling like a god to realizing I was a humbled mortal. You can't even generate radiance, which is your mana during the night, so you can basically fight for your life until sunrise. But you have to, because during the night our crabby friends drop extra loot that is supposedly a valuable resource. Great game design decision, if you ask me, as it encourages higher risk, higher reward choices. And then there is Pete. In the last test he was just a pirate, now he's got a fish head. This fight is where that Souls-like tag actually matters. He has these delayed attacks that completely destroyed my timing, and the stamina regeneration is brutally slow. You swing twice, roll once, and then you are gasping for air, while Pete attempts to make your scoliosis worse. It's punishing, but not too much, as the boss was already nerfed, but in a good way. His animations felt slower, or maybe I had more experience with his tricks, unsure. After the easy daytime fights, I kind of missed this level of challenge. But the real star here is the ship. In most survival games, a raft is just a way to get from A to B. Here, you are building your entire base on the deck. They actually swapped the interface to this radial menu on the right click, which took me a second to figure out, but once you get it, it clicks. And now, the best feature, when you enter building mode, you can actually fly around your ship. the camera detaches and you can zoom around to place walls and roofs exactly where you want them. You can rotate pieces with the middle mouse button, snap them into place, and basically build a monstrosity if you want to. I started with a sizable ship and ended up with this. It's surprisingly cozy, but really I had very little time to try the game and I'm not the best shipwright. To get that furniture though, you need the research desk. And this is where the game surprised me. It's not a boring skill tree, it works exactly like potion craft. You select a material and it draws a line on a map toward a new recipe. You have to physically navigate this little research map to discover things like chests or hammocks. It's such a small detail, but it makes unlocking tech feel like an actual discovery rather than just spending points. That said, the economy is, well, it's an economy. I wanted to build a hammock so I could sleep through the deadly nights, but it cost me 10 wood, twine and nails. I had to go clear-cut an entire island just to afford a nap. The farming can get a bit tedious, so be prepared to chop a lot of trees if you want a nice house. That grind might get tuned later, but right now it slows the pacing more than it should. Now, speaking of making things, I enjoyed the crafting minigame. You have to quickly select the correct materials like stick, twine, rock in the right order. If you are fast enough, you get a higher item grade with better stats or extra perks. It's simple and yeah, it might get repetitive at some point, but right now it's a nice touch that keeps you awake. Now to sailing. The ship has a weight. The control feels amazing without overcomplicating the process. To navigate around, you need to build a map table. It lets you plan your route to the next island. It solidifies that core loop. You sail, you raid an island for resources, you run back to your ship base to research upgrades, and then you start a course for the next one. It flows really well. Now, I promise to be brutally honest, this is clearly an early playtest, and you can tell, there is this over-the-shoulder point of view that just hates tight spaces. It gets stuck behind your own head, completely blocking the enemy, so you are basically swinging blind. It's frustrating, but expected in a playtest. Then there is the performance. I found this item called the Charged Harpy Feather. It teleports you back to your ship after a short animation, which sounds amazing, but then it absolutely nuked my FPS. We are talking PowerPoint presentation levels of lag. It worked, I got back to the ship, but I think my graphics card started praying for mercy. The loot table also feels a bit like a placeholder. The developers love hiding little secrets and ledges, which is great. I spent time platforming to get to those hidden areas, expecting some epic gear, but 90% of the time it's just nails and throwing knives. I have enough throwing knives to equip an army. But to give credit where it's due, the movement itself feels great. You don't slowly inch up ladders, you zip up them. It makes exploring the island feel snappy, even if you do occasionally get stuck in the geometry. And despite the jank, the bugs and the questionable camera, the game is weirdly beautiful. The aesthetic is very pleasing, it has a stylized look that just works even then things break. My prediction, we will be waiting for release for a while. So where does that leave us? I've played a lot of early access titles that launch in a much worse state than this. Despite the wonkiness and the frame drops, Triarchy feels weirdly complete. It's not just a tech demo, it's a game that could honestly launch in early access right now and be better than half the survival garbage out there. It sits in this weird, cool middle ground. It's an action RPG, it's a survival builder, and it's definitely got those Souls-like mechanics with the punishing combat and stamina management. It's cozy when you are on your ship building a roof, and it's terrifying when you're on an island at night fighting glowing crab monsters. That contrast, that's what makes it work. Also, Triarchy apparently has a co-op mode where you can cosplay as an oiled up individual prepared for any challenge, even inappropriate ones. I completely ignored it. Why? Because I dislike being around people, even virtually, but On a serious note, this feels like it could be wild with friends. I honestly regret that I didn't have more time to record this weekend because I didn't get to see the later islands, but I'm absolutely coming back for the next playtest. This is one of those games that just lands right up my alley. If you are tired of survival games that are just hitting trees with rocks and you want something that actually pushes back, keep this on your radar. I'll be covering it again as soon as the servers are up. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day or night. Bye bye.